you are. My name is Makini90 Arts German and Illustrator. Welcome you to another video here on the Makini Draws channel. Hope you all are doing well today. Consider this a follow-up video, essentially. The Friday video was definitely gained a lot of traction, and I wanted, and it did prompt me up to do a follow-up video because there are some more news is surfacing with specifically the Avowed art director Matt Hansen, and I do think that ultimately Obsidian needs to get ahead of this situation, or at least try to clear the air. And why I personally believe that Matt Hansen at least needs to come out and make some sort of, apology with in the midst of all of this chaos, essentially. Because if Obsidian continues to remain silent on this one, then this could potentially damage their hopes of their upcoming title Avowed getting much bigger success. But we will get all into that. But before we do that, I do have to address the elephant in the room on this one. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, everyone who smacked that like button and made it jiggle, and smacked that subscribe button and made it jiggle as well. I am still going through the mountain of comments on that last Avowed video, and I am truly overwhelmed by everyone's responses. So I just want to get this out of the way. Thank you so much for all of the support, and it was your responses to the Avowed video that prompted me to want to do this follow-up video. So once again, smack that like button, make it jiggle. Smack that subscribe button, make it jiggle as well. Again, thank you all so much. We are getting closer and closer to 3,000 subscribers, so I'm very happy about that. Thank you. Now, let's get into it. We're going to hit two specific articles on this one, and then I'm going to offer why I do think that Matt Hansen probably needs to come out and apologize, or at least Obsidian needs to, Obsidian and Microsoft needs to clear the air and, dispute all the absolute drama if they have chances of this game hoping to succeed and such like that. So the first part I want to go into is coming from Fandom Pulse, John F. Trent over at Fandom Pulse. Go ahead and check them out, as apparently we're not the only people calling out Matt Hansen's just absolutely disrespectful and just the ignorant white savior complex, basically. The quote: "The Great Rebellion developer blasts Avowed art director as quote-unquote unstable and childish." Again, this is coming from Fandom Pulse. Check them out. Links are all in the description down below. Roland Moritz, the founder of KVLT Games and the main developer for The Great Rebellion, blasted Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed for its art and its art director, Matt Hansen. Moritz spoke exclusively with Fandom Post, who asked him for his reaction to the Avowed, including pronouns in the game, blocking gamers on X who shared that they want to have their pronouns removed. And that was something I should have also brought up, was that apparently the official Avowed account on Twitter/X is going on a blocking spree on anybody who who's speaking up, voicing their concerns about the whole pronouns in the game, because apparently that's something you can't really escape, and that kind of heightens why I feel that pronouns in general is just unnecessary. It just does not make any sense in a fantasy game, like medieval fantasy game like Avowed, but that's just me. Art director Matt Hansen revealed that he wanted to make Elon Musk mad with his game. For those who are not aware, it was discovered that in a preview video uploaded by Force Gaming that the game would feature pronouns. While discussing the menus, Force Gaming shared one of them that showed that the game did have pronouns in it. After it was discovered, multiple gamers made it clear they did not want pronouns in the game and were subsequently blocked on the game's official account on X. For example, Sir Dubs27 wrote, quote, "You guys with too much of that pronoun crap, huh?" He then shared a screenshot that he was blocked by the game soon afterwards. From there, Elon Musk shared his thoughts about the pronoun thing being included in the game. He wrote, "Having pronouns in a fantasy game is utterly unacceptable." That's something we went over that caused Matt Hansen to make that meltdown. And let's go back to that. Let's rewind to that a little bit here. Quoting, sickos.jpg. I wonder what I don't know what you're trying to say. "I wanted to badly make him mad with my game. I cannot believe it actually happened. He then threatened, 'Wait until you see the default, you sad little.'" Professionalism at work, ladies and gentlemen. The absolute professional art director for the upcoming Avowed. As you can see here, I see here, I'm still a little angry about that, but I'm trying to poke fun at this because, he is in a world of trouble right now. Moritz react to all of this, telling Fandom post, quote, "The whole thing is another revealing look into how deep the gaming industry has been subverted by the radical leftist ideologues and, quite frankly, extremely entitled people who got used to getting their way every single time over the last years." Quote, "The fact that Obsidian's art director is lashing out in the unhinged way he did is the sign of a person who is not in the least willing to engage with any criticism or self-reflection and is in short, spoiled." No true words can not be said because I did, in that last video, I did say that, you want to send this video, my response, over to Matt Hansen, feel free to welcome to. And somebody in the comments actually did try to send this over to Matt Hansen over on Blue Sky. He hasn't waited a response yet, but he's expected to probably get blocked real soon, so. Well, you know what, Matt, all I can say is that you brought this on yourself, and we'll get more into that later on. These things have been going on for years behind the scenes, and getting a backlash with being dragged to light is still a new experience to these ideologues. He then observed, "They have to contend with the simple fact that gamers that do well to appeal to their audience are naturally successful. Games that spite their audience are unnaturally successful. Some of them, flops we have seen, could have been good games without the meddling." And that is definitely a point where it seems that going after your fans, going after your customers, does not bode well for your game or product or pretty much anything thereafter. Just saying. This is a factor in game design from the ground up. We see that in Obsidian's art director baking his controversial opinions into the game at a fundamental level, which are at odds with the culture. It's unstable, it's childish. We make games that are enjoyable because of our culture, not out of disdain for it. Well said, well said. And yes, it is unstable, childish, and once again, white guilt, virtue signaling just from that specific tweet that was dug up. This white savior complex, and I see that from a very, very troubled person, and I mean very, very troubled. It's clear that KVLT Games is nothing like Obsidian, Mort said. Quote, "This has been a guiding principle in the development of the Great Rebellion, and there is a huge amount of gamers wanting for studios to make games for the love of the medium. Again, first and foremost, they have enough of that ideology being shoved into each and every single beloved franchise," and I would add that caveat, no political ideologies should honestly be completely just shoved in your face, no matter what side it's coming from. Because in my humble opinion, if this came from the opposite side, yeah, I would be basically saying the same thing. He predicted, "I see a very, very bright future ahead for studios that return to gaming to what it should be," unquote. On a deeper level, I think the reason that why these issues about pronouns, gender identity, and whatnot are attractive to many people is that they give them a sense of belonging and purpose has been entirely stripped of them. Maybe also a sense of power that they belong to the right oppressed minority for social status, he opined. Interesting. The connecting forces of nationhood, family, and religion have been torn away from a life of relativist freedom, resulting in, ultimately, nihilism, because these people lack an outside force or structured order, meaning behind their existence, a struggle, he stated. These fake struggles with sexuality are ultimately meaningless and depressing, which reflects on the amount of mental illness and often its fetishization that you will find in this so-called woke crowd. They aim their vitriol at Elon for blind failing an effigy to burn and take out the minute that you hate you hate on. Elon has merely opened up the floor and slightly lessened censorship in the public discourse. Progressiveness is realizing for the first time that since their capturing of institutions that they were not getting their way, he concluded. Now, this is something I want to add up, and I brought this up on last Wednesday's Machini in the Morning Show, which I do Mondays and Wednesdays, Fridays at 7 a.m. PST. This is what I brought up. We have seen multiple times that Elon has, every time Elon says something, it gets people talking. It gets almost the world talking. It gets a lot of eyes on the situation. This is no different. And I did say on Wednesday that guaranteed that next year, Elon is going to have a bigger influence in the video game industry, whether you like it or not, because his tweets now have a lot of power. Him owning Twitter, him owning X has that much power. The fact that people all migrated over to Blue Sky, the fact that the biggest, the loudest voices migrated over to Blue Sky happened. And also from a political angle, because Elon has endorsed the next president of the United States, also is a factor as well. It clearly, Elon has a lot of power, and let's not forget that he wants to build his own AI-focused game studio, and we'll see how that works out. But you can see that in the coming year, Elon's going to have a lot of power and influence, and when he makes a tweet, especially regarding video games, it gets people to melt down. For example, the director of Assassin's Creed Shadows, when Elon made that tweet saying DEI kills art, and it caused, that director, and it caused Ubisoft to have a meltdown over that. And it was all public too. And it's something to also definitely consider. Now, this is not enough, because I'm happy to see that, a lot more people are speaking out about, Matt Hansen publicly. More people are speaking out about his antics, his behavior, his unprofessional behavior, his disingenuous white savior complex from my point of view, and that, as an art director, you should have some more common sense. You should be acting more like a professional, that you should be, setting a positive standard and such like that. And in my personal opinion, Obsidian needs to come out, and Obsidian really does need to come forward and, address the situation going on there, because I am surprised. I'm guessing that heads are going to roll within Obsidian right now, that everybody is panicking over Matt Hansen's comments, Matt Hansen's tweets, Matt Hansen's posts, Matt Hansen's unprofessional reaction to all of this. It's not a good look. It simply is not a good look. And what we found out from Smash JT makes the situation that much worse. This is coming from Smash JT. Go ahead and check them out, because an ex-Obsidian whistleblower basically reached out to Smash to let him know that, yeah, Matt Hansen is pure evil, and I'm going to hit a couple of points within his article. I will put his entire article in the description so you can read it in full, but there are a couple points I want to bring up. So we're going to go down a couple paragraphs, and we're going to go right into this here. The shift in the workplace dynamics began after Microsoft acquired Obsidian back in November 2018 and made them part of Xbox Studios. They implemented some very strange corporate and corporate policies that first tipped off to John Doe that some things weren't normal and was not anywhere in the introduction of the optional but in reality mandatory pronouns in email signatures, meetings, and other communications. And now the whole thing with pronouns, like, that's something every workplace now has. You put pronouns you bow. Now most workplaces they do give you the option to say you don't have to put it on there. Like in my real job, I don't ever have to put, nobody ever says anything, I don't ever have to put pronouns in my bio. So that's whenever at the end of my email signatures. While initially flamed as optional, it quickly became clear that dissent was not welcome. Doe decided that they didn't want to add pronouns to their communications, but went along with the idea that others were free to do so. A live and let live mantra, initially at least, seemed harmless at the time, but the whistleblower deep down knew that not including pronouns was not a good look from Jump Street, but then declined them anyways because it was just so strange to list them. I just say it's unnecessary. I just say it is unnecessary, and we can probably argue about that until the cows come home. Of course, this harmless pronoun situation turned serious shortly after the initial email came through. Doe recalled an incident of someone at Obsidian complaining to HR that a couple weeks after Microsoft the pronoun initiative began, after the misgendering incident, Matt Hansen sent a company-wide email declaring zero tolerance for intentional or malicious misgendering. This email's tone was described to me as passive-aggressive yet threatening. A fair warning that employees who couldn't align with those policies would face termination. That is, hearing about that makes me feel more. Hearing about that makes me feel even more justified in what I was in that video, in the video I was made, and regardless, I stand by everything I said in my previous video. And reading that, Matt Hansen is just trying to come in and be sheriff, trying to play sheriff for this, and basically creating frankly going to be creating a toxic work environment, makes my feelings towards him even more justified. Doe observed that Obsidian's culture seemed increasingly unwelcome to anyone who didn't fit a specific mold, with the demographics at the company becoming noticeably homogenous in one specific direction. Doe also observed that Matt Hansen was extremely difficult to work with, citing an unwillingness to accept constructive criticism and a consistent tendency to make assumptions about lower-level employees' commitment. Okay, this sounds like some toxic positivity that is going on there at Obsidian, and Matt Hansen is at the helm. I have made a video about that a while back. I'll probably put that in the title. I'll probably put a card up top about that one, about the whole toxic positivity thing, because that was one of the things that secured the shutdown of Firewalk Studios, who were the developers of the ill-fated Concord. These experiences, combined with a broader sense that the company's priorities have shifted away from fostering a collaborative and creative environment, left him questioning their place within the studio. Out of the time, over 200 employees, there was a handful of straight white males, as they put it. I could probably count them all on one hand. The studio itself was extremely gay, LGBTQ friendly. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's a bit curious how the ideology begins to morph and push adhere to a certain expected viewpoint. If you do not ideologically align, you are instantly an outcast, creating an deeper echo chamber like minded thought. Basically a hive mind. Doe began to quietly update the resume, realizing that the workplace initially signed up for now had instead become intensely hostile to anyone who didn't conform. I didn't touch it with a 20-foot pole, Doe told me, knowing that deep down, any pushback would be put them on the radar as the next person out the door. Instead of staying at Obsidian for another company, a few years, the toxicity grew up at the time, and he eventually parted with the company. Yeah, this is a brilliant read here, but I want to bring up one more paragraph because this is a long read and I want to go past like 25 minutes on this one, but I don't want to go past like half an hour on this one. So I just want to bring up one more read here. Amid the chaos, Matt Hansen, the art director for over 9 years at Obsidian, emerged as a vocal advocate for contributed controlled work, remote work, citing various mental health concerns in employees at the time. Many employees were still clinging to the outdated CDC guidance, convinced that returning to the office would be life-threatening. Doe was struck by the quasi-religious fervor of particular individuals, those who apparently embodied a cult-like adherence to fear, wearing multiple masks and living in bubbles, that they were specifically stating that these were the type of people that would wear 5 or 6 masks at once if they could. At the same time, would advocate for traveling around in a society of literal bubble for enhanced protection. So this is probably bringing back to the whole, bringing back to everything that was going on in 2020 with the lockdowns and the coof and such like that. So. And it seems to be that Matt Hansen was probably the purveyor of wanting to stick to that work, remote work and encouraging everybody else to do so, and almost creating like what the whistleblower is saying, a very cult-like, quote-like quasi-religious fervor within Obsidian. Couple that with the actually I gotta add more to this. Okay. Doe believes that this intention of extreme COVID caution in their LGBTQ Marxist alignments over an Obsidian has now morphed into a sort of new age religion, driven by blind obedience to an ideological dogma. Doe felt that these people need a real religion to embrace because without it, they're lost souls clinging to identity politics as a god. And this chokehold basically has, Matt Hansen, the art director, has just been empowered to continue it, has been empowered to, to continue this fervor, to continue lashing out at the big figures like Elon, basically shining a light on what is going on here. And like I said, I'm going to leave a link to the rest of the article as well as the video that Smash JD put out, because it's a great video kind of exposing just what's going on and how honestly vile of a human being that Matt Hansen is. And honestly, I'm not surprised by that, honestly, to be honest with you. Sorry, I said that 3 times. My personal statement here, and by the way, David Jaffe, former God of War 1 and 2 creator David Jaffe, actually tried to defend the whole pronoun thing that Matt Hansen was trying to push out in one of his recent videos that went viral for the wrong reasons, and I will actually play a clip of that.
Avowed devs said they're making the game really woke to upset Elon and Grums. Well, I don't know. I mean, I know what you're talking about, Eddie. I know the art director was basically pushing back because Elon got upset and Grums got upset that there are, God forbid, pronouns in that you can select, or maybe not even select, in Avowed. And so the art director got pissed off and the community manager shut her account down. But I don't know, the game's almost done. So I don't really, that may have just been sort of a pissy kind of statement.
And as far as Jaffe goes, listen, there's a specific quote in that video that I think may warrant another video in response. May warrant me, calling him out, because That was not a good analogy, Jeffy. That was not a good analogy at all.
They straight up ask you if you want transgender game options 1 hour in. You select yes or no. So all the people bitching invited into their game. I don't even know what it asks, but this character apparently is the Barv trans character, and so far there's nothing. Not that that needs to be. I mean, to me, that's the equivalent of saying, "Do you want black people? Do you want black people in your game? We have a button that'll get the blacks out." That's the equivalent of it.
Now, as we're getting close to the 25-minute mark on this video, I stand by what I said about Matt Hansen. I stand by that, and you are more than welcome to send my last video and go ahead and send this video over to him, because he does not represent me. He does not stand up for me. He does not stand up for anyone but himself. He has a severe superiority and savior complex, and his lashing out at Elon has put Obsidian in a bit of trouble, and Obsidian right now needs to come out and clear the air. I've said it like 3 times at this point, but they do need to clear the air, because if this continues, their game will suffer. Avowed will suffer in some way, shape, or form. Yes, I know. I still believe that, them being under the umbrella of Microsoft and being at day one exclusive on Game Pass will help them with the sales and such like that, and help them with kind of that, financial protection. However, I did notice some actually good pushback on that, because even under Microsoft's umbrella, their game can still tank. Their game can still fail. And, I stand by what I said about Game Pass being ultimately a mistake. I might have to do a video on that later. I might have to bring something like that up there. I really do feel that Game Pass was a mistake in the end. I think it's doing more harm than good. That's just my opinion. With Matt Hansen, this whole thing, I didn't even get into I didn't get into a deep dive on the lawsuit allegations that Chris Avellone was suggesting, because he's made some excellent tweets, and I'm going to put some of Chris Avallone's tweets and such like that, especially some of the articles regarding that, in the description as well. This whole thing, and I think this will be my personal message towards Matt Hansen. You cannot run tail and hide to Blue Sky knowing the fallout of all this. You need to at least come clean, come forward, and clear some of the air out, because so many people have done so many videos on this. People are talking about this. Your game is now in the headlines for the wrong reasons now. Like, some people in my comment section were speculating that this might be another Dragon Age the Veilguard situation on our hands with Avowed, where it's where it's going to be incredibly divisive between journalists and between the customers and gamers. And your comments are not helping. And I find it kind of interesting that Matt Hansen's, they're not showing the complete, for the mainstream outlets who are covering Matt Hansen's little spurg out against Elon Musk over on Blue Sky are not pointing out the full story, are not pointing out how damaging it can be towards the release of this game, towards this game's potential of success. So to Matt Hansen, if you are listening, you and Obsidian, you guys need to come clean on this. You guys need to address the situation. You can't just sweep it under the rug and pretend it didn't happen. This needs to be addressed. Like, legitimately needs to be addressed. Because this is going to be a continuing problem. You're losing customers. You're losing support. Let's be honest here. You are losing customers to support with Matt Hansen's statements. And you cannot pull this trying to go after content creators like myself, or like Smash JT or Demion or whatever, for pointing this out. Everybody is talking about it now. And you can't pull a Jaffe and try to blame. And if this game does fail, you can't pull a David Jaffe and try to just blame the content creators for pointing out the problems, for pointing out how your lead art director is causing a storm, a negative storm, a toxic storm over your game. So, Obsidian, you need to come out and clear the air. And honestly, Matt Hansen, this goes beyond. He needs to keep his mouth shut up until release in February. He needs to be disciplined. Like, if this is true, like with the whistleblower, if this is true and he is creating this toxic of a work environment, that is going to further damage the reputation of your studio. It is going to further damage the reputation of your studio. So, you can almost cite this as my message to Matt Hansen, the art director, and to everyone not only at Obsidian Entertainment, but also at Microsoft. And this can't be just, we've talked to Matt Hansen and he's going to just stop. He's going to keep his mouth shut moving forward. No, he needs to be disciplined. Like, he needs to be held accountable. Like there's literally, they want to bring this whole up, freedom of speech without freedom of consequences. No, there needs to be consequences here for what Matt Hansen's little unhinged meltdown is. Seriously. And even some of the tweet surfaces of that, he'll keep doing this. He'll keep doing this to every single game. He'll keep implementing pronouns and acting like this with every game he makes moving forward, which is why I will not support any game that has his name in the credits. Matt Hansen, you are the lead art director for this title. Have some discipline. Have some accountability. Look in the mirror. Read the room. You are hurting potential. You are hurting your potential here. Your game's potential. It's plain and simple. And with me, and that little tweet, you're talking about calling black artists for portfolio reviews and advice, and saying that you want to get rid of the quote-unquote crusty white dudes in the gaming industry. You need to be held accountable for that too. You need to at least come out and apologize. You need to at least come out and just address that maybe what I said was out of line. I stand by what I said in the previous video. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody should be taking any kind of portfolio reviews or advice from someone like you. If this is how you're acting, nobody should be taking that from you. So, the ball is in your court, Obsidian. The ball is in your court, Matt Hansen. If you want to keep some of that goodwill that you may have left regarding this title, you need to come clean. You need to patch things up. And Matt Hansen needs to be disciplined. Matt Hansen needs to take some accountability for this. Otherwise, this is going to hurt your chances of this game's success, and it's going to hurt your reputation moving forward. But that's just my thoughts. What are yours? I know we're already at 34 minutes, so as always, smack that like button, make it jiggle. Smack that subscribe button, make it jiggle. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Of course, keep it civil as such. Follow me over on Twitter. Follow me over on my Discord as well. And as well as Newgrounds and Etsy shop and all that good stuff. Massive, massive thank you to everyone in the Cute, Sexy, and Fun Nation. I cannot thank you guys enough for your incredible support. If you guys want to see your name on the screen, and if you guys want to get access to exclusive art drops that I do every 2 months for my channel members in the form of the art batches, join the CSF Nation for as low as $1 a month. Again, thank you everyone for the comments on the last video. Thank you everyone for the incredible support. Thank you everyone who subscribed and giving me a chance. And I hope that I continue to make you guys proud. I hope that I continue to provide you guys with great content and great commentary. And I thank you all for watching. I am Machiny Nighty, Artist German Illustrator, and I'll see you all next time for another video. Until then, take care, much love, stay cute, stay sexy, have fun, never, and I mean ever, never apologize for wanting attractive women in your media, especially in your video games. Because that's something I will happily continue to speak out on. And that has been a thing that has been going on since the start of this year, if not even further. And above all else, never stop drawing.